Dunn made it. That's fantastic. All right.
Done and done.
Done and
So
done.
Mark Dunn, you are on as a realtor today. We're going to actually invite the realtors to our VMA calls because a lot of them are about business, about motivation, about VA stuff. And some of them are a little more LO specific, but you guys are invited because you're veteran housing advisor partners. We are going to have some separate veteran housing advisor calls. The first one is going to be on marketing. That's coming up soon. So the LOs that are watching, we are doing, a concurrent program running side by side with veteran housing advisors, veteran mortgage advisors. I think I had dropped the link to sign up for those of you who wanted to share, but just message me on the side if you have a real estate agent that wants to get started with veteran housing advisor. We had our first round of housing advisors go through. A couple of them are on today. Ann is on today. Mark is on today. Mark, would you mind hopping on the camera and just, saying what you learned from the veteran housing advisor course, or are you not available to get on the camera? Is that a bad thing that I'm even asking you, Lauren?
No, I can get on the camera and chat for a bit.
Well, all I want to know is okay, so from a realtor's perspective, you're a newer realtor. You know about VA loans because of Lauren, but like you went through the course and you learned some stuff. So like why should these LOs refer their realtors to this course? What kind of stuff are the other agents going to learn there?
Well, let me tell you, I'm also a veteran, right? So I have all these benefits that I don't even know that I have until I took this course. I mean, and my wife is, she helped put this course together, and I learned so much about my benefits, but not only my benefits, how I can apply them to wealth building, how I can apply them to saving money, or how I can apply them to teaching other veterans about how they can build wealth, and also how I can teach other realtors to speak to veterans about these benefits. I just got done talking to a whole bunch of veterans today. I was walking around to a bunch of armories, and I was telling them a lot about what I learned in the course. And there's a couple times somebody would brought up, PMI or something that gets associated with the VA loan, and I was able to dispel very fast. So with the myth busting and just how gold this content is, if you're able to take anything away, and you can always go back and reference it also. That's another good key point.
Well, I appreciate you let me throw you on the spot there. I was just trying to inspire our lender friends, and let them know, like, guys, we put a lot of energy into VHA. It's there. We're going to start marketing it directly to agents who want it to be something synergistic for you, that, agents can come join these calls that we're doing. Some of the calls will be more about VA guidelines. Some of them are going to be more about building a veteran-centric business. Some of them are going to be just let's get you motivated. Let's give you some things to think about as you're building a business. And today's call has got a little bit of that flavor. Today, we're going to recap something that we did in St. Louis. We spent some time in St. Louis telling everybody, like, look, yeah, we got to know VA loans. We got to know VA guidelines. We got to embrace veteran home ownership and understand that there's a huge gap in education and knowledge. A lot of you have heard me say this over and over, like the VA doesn't have a sales and marketing department. And so it falls on the industries to put messages out there. Well, there's a lot of other companies out there that have realized that and put messages out there, and they have these big marketing machines that are kind of built a little bit around education. One of the biggest lenders that we all know of, Schmetren's, Schmited. Again, if you ever worked there, a couple of you have been there in the past. I don't think it's the most terrible place in the world. They do try to do good things, but there's so many mistakes and so many things that, like, a good, solid loan officer that's referral based, that takes a profession seriously, would criticize about their business model, the mistakes that they make, the veterans that they leave at the closing table, that kind of stuff. It's our belief that there's a better way to do it. There's a better way to have us out there educating, and in the end doing a great job on the loans. The problem is we don't educate like they do. We don't have the sites that teach the veterans things, and we kind of rely like on phone calls and handshakes. We try to build content over time. And so in VMA, we're trying really hard to get you guys educating more, to get you guys building more content, to get out there for more eyes and build things that are evergreen, build things that like somebody can read, or they can go watch a video, they can find you, they can see something you've done, they can see something you've said, they find their way to you, they find a way to a class that you're doing, they know that you're the person that has accurate info. And then of course you deliver for the realtors over and over again. The realtors start trusting you. You ask the realtors for all their business, more than just their VA business, and you build your team. So at the end of the day, all those things sound great, but most of us have a problem that we start running around and squirrel. There's I need this new object. I need a new app. What am I going to do? We lack clarity. We sometimes don't execute, and we're not very focused because we just don't know what's most important every single day. And one of my good friends, Kevin, talked to me this winter a whole lot about stepping back a little bit from writing loans and stepping up a little bit into doing more in the VA space. And I have the pleasure of being able to sit in an office with him at least 2 or 3 times a week and geeking out on this kind of stuff, geeking out on how to make loan officers better, how to get people to be more productive and to hit the goals and the needs and the things that they want to do with their life. And so I've, asked him to come into VMA a couple times and talk to us. He came to our event in St. Louis and he gave a fantastic presentation on clarity and focus. He's going to share some of the tips from that day. That was a little bit more like an hour. We've only got about a half an hour here. So he's going to be maybe a little bit more focused than we were in St. Louis. We had a really, really solid hour.
So you said Kevin sits in your office with you?
He's a couple offices away. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, he needs to monitor the last time you take coffee intake before an elite call, because you're getting way ahead of yourself here, buddy.
So good.
we gotta go back. We gotta do some housekeeping stuff, and then we go to Kevin.
All right.
So Kevin, you got to make sure that this dude stops drinking coffee by 11 a.m. or something.
I tried to, Brad, but I only have so much pull.
I'm pretty sure that was one long run-on sentence.
It was just what I do. People love me for it. All good, Brad.
All right. Couple things. We wanted to share with you before Kevin takes the stage. First things first, if you don't know, Chapter 6 was re-released of the VA Lender Handbook. Chapter 6 is refinancing loans. We've gone through this a few different times, and essentially they've taken all the circulars that have been released over the last couple of years, and they've added it all to the VA Lender Handbook. Okay, so make sure that you go over to the page, and I'll shoot it over to you here in the chat. Make sure you download that new chapter, and you're using the most up-to-date guidelines. Separate yourself from everybody else. This is where it starts. All right. Number 2. Again, we're coming up on a military month and a lot of holidays that are coming up too. So here's some great opportunities for you to get out in the veteran community. All right. You got the Marine Corps birthday, November 10th, Veterans Day, November 11th, Operation Handshake, November 27th. This is done across the country at every airport. You're just welcoming home veterans and active duty service members for the holidays. Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day, December 7th, National Guard birthday, December 13th, Wreaths Across America, December 14th, Space Force birthday, December 20th, and then Operation Handshake again, welcoming home active duty and veterans, for the holidays. That's a quick rundown. Did I forget anything, Fish?
The only thing you forgot is that I think we want to be sending these to you. So Brad, make sure you give them to me. I'll post them in the VMA community, and I'll shoot an email out reminder when I send the replays out later of what the holidays are, so that you can be cognizant of them. Of certainly, post or find places to take action in your local community to support folks that are celebrating the holidays. So
if you go to the team chat in Zoom, I sent it to you already.
Cool.
It's there.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm glad you did the housekeeping, and I will no longer have a run-on sentence. I'm just going to say, okay, your ball. Here you go. Looking ladder. Let's do this. Throw me a touchdown pass.
All right, Kevin, bring us the end zone here, buddy.
All right.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic, man. Thanks so much for allowing me to be here with you all today. I'll start with 2 quick things. Number 1, I'm not really a VA guy, and I love doing my part at my company to make us a great VA lender. But when I went to St. Louis with Fish a month ago or whatever that was, I was blown away. I had no clue how intellectual you all were, how intricate the VA loan stuff was. Well, I'm not kidding. There was a guy with a big bushy beard that spoke. He was a underwriter somewhere.
David
Dave
Garrett.
And
Garrett, yeah.
David Garrett.
I almost fell off my chair. I'm like, holy crap, this guy has got this nailed down. I was watching all of your faces and you understood and followed every word the guy said. And I'm like, this is a group of centered, really, really top shelf people. So I was just thoroughly impressed. And I'm grateful that I was able to be there. It was really
Can I add something
eye-opening.
real quick?
Yeah.
Before you get going, I just wanted to add I sat through your presentation in St. Louis, and I took stack the days, right? There's a motto that I've heard by a guy named Chad Fleming who works for Benchmark, the real life Captain America.
Yeah.
He said, not every day's a good day, but there's some good in every day.
Correct.
Right. And I was like, holy shit. And that's what you're saying too. Stack the good days. Right.
That's right.
So, I don't know, just within the past couple of weeks, I called Fish and I was like, you'll never believe it, man. I've stacked one day, right? I stacked back-to-back days. And then I got a slam dunk day on Saturday, right? We call that a winning streak in baseball. Now
That's
I gotta
right.
go, and then
That's
next
right.
thing you know, you're up to 7 days and you're just trying to find the positives in it. Right.
I
So
couldn't
I
agree more with you.
appreciate that. I wanted to tell you that before we kicked off.
Thank you.
It was a great concept, and take us home, man.
Thank you very much. And that's really what it's about. And I was going to hit on that today anyway, so the timing's perfect. But I look at like business maybe a little differently than some folks do. And hopefully I'll say something today that maybe gives you a little perspective or an angle different than when you came on this call. And maybe someone will actually have an aha moment, and quite possibly someone might have an epiphany. But like Brad just described an aha. We had talked about something a month ago. He put it into practice and it produced a result. And when you think about stacking days, my best example of that is my son. My son's a baseball player, and the kid works his ass off. He's 18 years old and he signed a pro contract. He's with the Milwaukee Brewers organization. And almost every day he goes to work, nothing good happens. He's recovering from an injury. He doesn't see the value of today yet, like at 5 o'clock today. But when you stack 400 days in a row, 700 days in a row, that just sets you apart from everyone else. And because they're not willing to do that. And so stacking days matters regardless of what the outcome of that day produces. And that's the hard part. And that's why most people can only do it for 1 day or 2 days, because they don't have the stick-to-itiveness, because they're results now people. And I get it. I'm as results now as anyone on this call. I want it yesterday. But that's not the real life, and that's not the real world, and it's certainly not the mortgage industry in 2024. So if you just look at where we're going to end this year, there's only going to be about $1.5 trillion lent in America this year. 1.5 trillion is probably the number we end December 31st at. And just for point of reference, there was about $4.7 trillion lent in 2021. So you look at a 200+% decrease in the amount of money lent in a space. And yeah, it's harder. It is more of a challenge. Yeah, there's some difficulties. Yeah, when the feds all said, oh, we're going to cut rate, and every guy went on Facebook and said, oh, rates are coming, interest rates are coming down. What'd they do? They went up. So everyone was wrong, And so we can't control certain things. And that's the kind of stuff I like to talk about and bring to the loan originators that work here at my company and the ones that I'm, involved with is there's a few things that are non-negotiable. But if you want results faster, I believe the secret formula is clarity, focus, and execution. And it's that simple, but it's not easy. So let's just talk about that. First and foremost, it starts with clarity. If you are not crystal clear on where the hell you're headed, you are not going to get there unless a massive stroke of luck comes your way, which is not what we can bet on. So first question is, how clear is everybody? Does everyone on this call believe they're the president and CEO of Me Inc.? If you don't, I think you're in the wrong business. I think that every single person on this call, if you're in sales, it's incumbent upon you to change your mindset right this second that you're the president and CEO of Me Inc. Because we all work at nice companies, I'm sure, and everything, but those companies aren't going to pay your bills. You got to pay your bills. And you got to approach your business as if you are the CEO, number one. So that starts with mindset. But I talk to loan officers every day and I say, how many loans are you going to close in 2025? They have no idea. tremendous lack of clarity. General Motors doesn't guess how many cars it might sell next year. They have a plan. So it starts for me with clarity. And so one thing I would say, very important point number one on this talk is make sure you're crystal clear on where you're headed. It's the first step in the recipe of getting there faster. Who knows the importance of the number 32? Does anyone know what the significance of that number is? It's the number of work days left in this calendar year, only 32. If you take off Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, there's 32 work days. What is your mission in those 32 days? Who are you going to outwork? What are you going to do? How many minutes per each of those 32 days are you going to spend on high leverage activities versus low leverage activities? I don't know the answer to these questions for you guys. I do know them from me. I'm the most average dude you'll ever meet. I did not go to Harvard. I'm not, obviously, I got a face for radio, not camera and all that. But at the end of the day, I know what it means to spend 90+% of my work hours that I choose to invest working into high leverage activities and how many I choose in low leverage activities. My biggest problem with the mortgage industry is the word busy. I hate the word. I've removed it from my vocabulary because every loan officer I know tells me how busy they are. Busy sucks. You're either productive or you're unproductive. There is no middle ground. And so if you don't know what your high leverage activities are, it's hard for you to do them all day. And it's just like living on a drug of hopium. And if that's your business plan, you are in for a tough go in 2025. And I can promise anyone that wants to think about this that first and foremost, get clear on the mission. Second, once you have clarity, is we got to get focused. And distraction is the opposite of focus. And if you think about it, we live in a noisy world. We live in a distracted world. It's so easy to get caught up in this ridiculous Facebook stuff and the Twitter and the election and the this and the that. It's noisy. And noisy and distraction is the opposite of focus, and lack of focus is the number one reason people don't achieve their financial goals. It's that simple. So we got to
I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
Did you say hopium?
Yeah.
I love it. All right.
It's a bad drug. It's a bad drug for business success.
I love it. All right.
So I've had to get laser focused, and that's not easy to do when you live in a noisy world. It's easier to participate in the, water cooler talk. It's easier to get distracted with social media. It's easier to do a lot of things that aren't high leverage activities. So one recommendation that I highly recommend for everyone that's serious about building a business is figure out what your HLAs are, high leverage activities, write them down, type them into a sheet of paper in 20 font, laminate it, and keep it everywhere you can. If you can visually see it, like I said this when I was in St. Louis, but I don't read my own email. Everyone thinks that's weird. I don't think it's weird at all because I average 250-ish emails a day. If I spend 30 seconds on each of them, that's 125 minutes. That's 2 hours and 5 minutes. I sure as hell don't have 202 hours a day to read email. It's a joke. So I pay someone to read my email. What does she do? She tells me the 4 or 5 that I have to do something on. That's it. This sounds weird to people, but I don't get my own lunch. Why? It's not a high leverage activity for me, but Sophie, the gal on my team, knows if I'm not nourished, I can't do what I do. So I got to eat, but I don't get my own lunch. And my point is this. If you knew what your 4 or 5 high leverage activities are, and you only did those for 35 to 40 hours a week, how many clients would you have? More than you can handle is the real answer. But unfortunately, there's tons of loan officers in this country that spend 10 hours or 10% of their working hours on high leverage activities and 90% on low leverage activities, and then go home and say, I was busy today. Ooh, I'm pooped. The hell are you talking about? You worked 4 hours this week and you vacationed at the office 36 of them. I say reverse that. I 10x'd my income once, 10x. And the only reason why is because of that. I did nothing but high leverage activities and I stopped doing low leverage. That's focus. So you got to identify what they are first, and they're different for each people. What might be a high leverage activity for lender girl Lauren might be different from that of Jeff. I don't know. They don't have to be the same. They just have to be authentic to you. And a high leverage activity is something that checks 3 boxes. You got to love it. You got to be great at it. And it's got to drive your economic engine. If it don't check all 3 of those boxes, I don't do it. I'll give you an example. Someone texted me today at our company and said, I have a referral for someone in Indianapolis. Who's our best LO in Indianapolis? I texted back and said, no clue, bro, not my lane. I do know the real answer to that question, but that was my answer because I can't have that person calling me 6 times a day or texting me all day about stuff that's not in my lane. And if I set the precedence that they can do that to me, then it's going to distract from my high leverage activities. So we got them to the person that could get them the answer they needed. It just didn't have to come from me. So clearly identifying what your HLAs are and doing more of them, and clearly identifying what your low leverage activities are and doing less of them is how you focus. Execution is doing stuff. It's great to write business plans. It's great to sit around and read guidelines. And I know you guys know more about veteran lending than any human beings I've ever met. And I think it's awesome. I think it's imperative. I think it's great that you know that. But if you just read the VA handbook for 40 hours a week, you're going to have no clients and no one that needs a mortgage from you. This is a full contact sport we live in. This is a belly to belly, face to face, press the flesh business. We can't sit around, balance on a chair and pray to the Lord that the phone's going to ring. It's not going to happen. Not 2020. Can't walk into the grocery store and say, hey, I got 2.625 in my pocket. Does anyone need a refi? The whole line would turn around because every single person in America had an interest rate higher than that. That was shooting fish in a barrel. If you couldn't make money in 2021, I don't know what the heck you're doing. But that ain't today. And 25 is not going to be 1 ounce brighter than 2024, in my opinion. I might be wrong. I hope like hell I'm wrong, but I'm preparing for it being a similar year. And if we catch a break, I'd love it. If we get a rate reduction, I'd be the happiest guy in America. I'm just not banking on it. I've watched a bunch of high-paid 6-figure suits at the NBA talk about this, that, and the other thing, and they're not always right. And so I got to worry about the things I can control. And that's how many people know me, how many people like me, how many people trust me, because that's who people do business with in this country. Our only job today is to create, keep, or grow a client. We have no other job. So when it gets to execution, if we've removed the distraction, if we understand focus, if we're clear on our mission, then we go execute. Execute is doing shit. It's making those calls. I've had 7 appointments today. 5 of them were not fruitful. 2 of them were out of the park, smash, home run, grand slams, awesome. But 5 sucked. That's just my life. The question is, I was on 7 calls. And it's only 1:30 my time, 2 o'clock, whatever. I got 3 more booked today. I'm going to have 10 appointments today plus this. Those are high leverage activities for me. The reason this is high leverage for me is because it helps Fish. I love Fish. I appreciate what he does for this group. And he asked me to help. I said, yes, he never has to ask twice. It makes it a high leverage activity because I'm doing something good for Fish. Hopefully for other people on this call as well. But execution is king. And execution, in my opinion, is achieving results through accountable actions. But there's that word that a lot of people don't like, accountability. I believe that winners love accountability and losers hate accountability. I'm held accountable to someone every day of my life. Actually, 2 people. 1, my wife at home, and 2, Sophie. Sophie's sitting right there. She's 4 feet away from me. She mandates that I do high leverage activity. When she catches me not doing them, she says something to me. What are you doing? Oh, I was checking to see if the Celtics won last night. Is that a high leverage activity? No. Stop doing it. Okay. We have to be held accountable. It's normal to stray from the path. It's very abnormal to be able to laser focus for 6 or 8 hours a day on the mission. It's not easy. And left up to our own things, it ain't going to happen for most people. So we got to execute, and we got to execute like we never executed before if you want to build a business. If you want to close 2 loans a month, you don't need one damn thing of what I said. Everyone on here could probably roll out of bed and close 2 loans a month just through people they know. I can't fund my life on 2 closings a month. And I'm sure most people on this call can't either. So if you don't like your results, there's a really simple equation to change them. get clear on the mission, focus like you never have before, and execute like a son of a gun. And if you do that 6 to 8 hours a day, 4 to 5 days a week, there's not one person on here that couldn't double their number of people that want to borrow money from them. It's a choice. It's a damn choice. And we get to make it every single morning. How are you going to act? Are you going to tell everyone how busy you are and you work 60 hours a week? All the people that walk around puffing their chest saying they work 70 hours a week, most of them don't. But for some weird reason, they like to say that. I used to be the guy like that 15 years ago. I took pride in telling people how many hours I worked until someone told me how stupid I sounded. And then I changed that. It's dumb to work 70 hours a week. It ruins your personal life, your family life, your friendship lives. It's not healthy. It is really good to work 35 or 40 hours a week and be as laser focused as humanly possible during that time frame and create, keep, or grow a client, because there is no other job.
Quality over quantity.
Yeah, it's so true, Brad. That's exactly what it is. And yet we get this perverse excitement out of telling people that we're busy, or that, oh, I'm so busy. Oh, I worked for 10 hours today. I'm whooped. What do you mean? If you didn't create, keep, or grow a client in 9 of those 10 hours, that you mean you worked 1 hour. So that's our thing. And I started thinking, this might be too long for this, but I started thinking, like, what does it take to build a business in the mortgage industry? And there's really 9 things. And the first one is a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're not going to get to where you think you're headed. You have to have a plan. The second one is your mindset. If you settle for mediocrity or okayism or whatever the hell people settle for, you ain't going to build a business. You might end up having a career in the mortgage industry, but you're not building a business. The mindset has to be there. It must be. It's got to be lion mode or honey badger style, wherever the hell you choose to look, but you better be on the attack, because others are coming after your client at a higher rate than they ever have before in the history of the mortgage industry. Every single service or every aggregator, Rocket Mortgage is coming after your client, and they have the technology to get to them before you do. And it's scary. You better be in lion mode. So mindset's the second thing. You got to have great operations. I assume everyone on here works at a company that has great operations and knows how to close VA loans and other loans. But you got to have operations. You can't live without them. When's the last time people on here have taken 2 minutes and written a handwritten thank you note, thanking their underwriter, their closer, or their post closer, or someone, a processor? Honor the operations people, because without them, we don't have a business. You got to have technology. You have to have it. We're in a different world. If I had my brothers, I'd live off of a yellow pad. That's how I like to live my life, but it doesn't work anymore. It's got to be coupled with technology. I just looked the other day, I use this thing Blend, I use Encompass, I use Total Expert, I use Boomerang, Sales Boomerang, I use Mortgage Coach, I use BombBomb, I use this thing called Twilio, I use this thing called Loan Officer CRM, I use this thing called MoveTube, I use this thing called Wisp, I use Model Match. That's 12 pieces of technology I use every week of my life. We better be technologically good. I'm not that good, but I have access to it, and I have people that help me on the things I'm not good at, but I need technology in my business. Number 5 is you better have a team. Maybe your team only has a half a person on it because you're sharing a loan partner with someone right now. My team has 11 people on it, but you better have a team. And if you want that team to be high performing, I can promise you that you must have 3 things to have a high performance team. And that's accountability, communication, and trust. And if you don't have all 3, you don't have a high performing team. I can prove that. Next thing I think everyone needs is a trusted advisor or a coach or a mentor. I have multiple ones, and I think anyone that doesn't have at least one is making a mistake, because we all have blind spots, and you can't see what you can't, like, I do stuff wrong all the time. But thankfully my coach says, hey, dumbass. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say, hey, dummy, you're doing that wrong. And I say, oh, why? Oh, because you said this and this, and you should have said this and this. Oh, okay. All right. I got to have someone else point it out, because I can't see the forest from the trees thing. So you better have a coach or a mentor. You got to have products, right? The world's changed. We used to be able to get away with, years ago, doing Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, VA, USDA. Now you got all this other crazy stuff. And I'm not saying you got to be an expert at all of it, but I think you have to have access to a lot of products. Probably next to most important, or no, they're all equally important, but you better understand marketing. You're in the business of you. You're the product. No disrespect to any of the companies, not even disrespecting my own company, but no one cares if someone works at Success Mortgage Partners. They borrow money from people that they know, like, and trust. So you better have the brand of you. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. But if you're going to market you, you better be good at content, at messaging, at branding, at video, at consistency, at call to action, at targeting, at podcasting. All that stuff's part of marketing, and you need it in your business. And then finally, I think loan officers spend so few minutes, most of them 0 minutes, on presentation mastery. Yet if you ask them, what's your whole life? It's making presentations. We're either presenting to a veteran, a borrower, a realtor, a divorce attorney, a financial planner, whatever. And they spend no minutes on presentation mastery. How does that make any sense? I don't get it. I have a role play partner, and he and I go to breakfast once every 2 weeks and throw objections at each other. And sometimes we sit there for 90 minutes and try to trip each other up.
Yeah,
It helps
you
me.
have to practice. You
gotta
can't
practice.
you can't expect to get your one at bat and not ever take a swing.
I know. You got to practice.
Come on. You have to
And,
practice.
and people don't like to practice, you know?
I think it's stupid or this is dumb.
Yeah, but they're wrong. Practicing.
I know.
I talked to a loan officer the other day that says he closes on about 14% of the people that talk to him about borrowing money. 14%. So you got to talk to 7 dudes to get one of them to borrow his money from you. What if you could talk to 7 people and get 6 of them to borrow the money from you? Then you don't need more leads. You just need to be better in front of the person. Very few people walk away when they interact with me and say, I don't know, he was okay. I don't like average. I don't want meh. I either want them to say, I love that guy, I want to work with him, or that guy's not my cup of tea. I'm okay with the latter. I have to make an impression. We got to be masters at presenting. That's our job. How are you on the phone? What's your voice inflection? What's your body language? I don't know. But if you never work at it, how the hell is it going to get better? But those are the 9 things I think you need to be to really run a business. You got to have a plan. You got to have the right mindset. You got to have operations. You got to have technology. You got to build a team. You got to have a coach. You got to have the right price. You got to market yourself, and you got to be great at presenting. What other things do you need other than that? What if everyone on this call was better at those 9 things 90 days from today? Would it move the needle in your income? I believe the answer is hell yes. So I don't know what else I can bring. It's really like, if you took those 9 things, now it's like, now what? What do you do with them? You got a choice to make. If you view yourself as president and CEO of Me Inc., you're going to act on some of these things. If you believe that you can get clear on your mission and that you understand what it means to focus, and then you're going to execute, the sky's the limit. We all got in this business for freedom and for money, right? But it only comes true if we do the stuff that creates opportunities to have freedom and money. And not everyone's all in on that. And I think that's the curse of the mortgage business and of any sales organization. We got to be all in. We got to come and bring it. We can't be normal. We can't be status quo. We can't be average. Screw all that. Be you. Make sure it's authentic. But if you have a business, I can't live on small amounts of money. I have to. I live a life that it requires financial funding. So I got to be all in every day. I don't have a choice. I was broke and I'm not broke. And I like not broke a ton better than broke, but I've been both. It's no longer a choice for me. And I come to work every single morning with a broke mindset. I say, no one's going to out hustle me today. No one. And Fish knows. He comes down to my office all the time. How many times am I on the phone when you come down, Fish?
Every time.
Every time.
Every time. Yeah.
Every time I have to flash a sign to him, give me 5, give me 10, give me whatever. Then I'll run down and do what he needs. But I'm working. I'm humping it.
I mean, Kevin, I've worked in offices where I could walk in and talk to them whenever I wanted because they were never on the phone.
That's right. Because they're settling for average, Mike.
Right.
They're okay with average. And if you're okay with average, you don't have to do a damn thing I just talked about. I'm just not okay with average.
So Kevin, just a couple things here. Number one, everybody like if you want us to try to help keep you accountable, you want to remind yourself, pick one of those 9 things. Like, what is your biggest pain point right now? What needs to change right now? And drop it in the chat. Feel free. Again, if you want to keep it private, that's fine. But I like it more when people just admit, like what is your problem? Is it your mindset? Is it your plan? I mean, for me, it's my plan. I'm all over the board. I do too many things. So I'll say that for me, number one, I need more clarity. I have a lot of the other things 4 through 9 I'm great at, but sometimes my daily plan gets out of whack. But like for you, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Now, Kevin, I know we got a couple realtors on this call, and I know a lot of us are coaching and helping realtors all the time. And we'll
Right.
take some of the things we learn on these calls, we'll try to take it back to our realtor partners, help them be better. And I know Mark just dropped the question, like, what would you say are the 5 high leverage activities for a realtor, or like what kind of resources do
It's
you find?
easy. It's easy. It's easy. 2 things. Number 1, I don't care what realtor you're talking to, even a whale, a big shot, an awesome realtor, the best realtor in the state of whatever. Almost every single realtor in this country has a problem with one of 4 areas or all 4 of the areas. Almost none of them have a prospecting system, a follow-up system, a tracking system, or an asking system. You show a realtor how to fill the holes in their bucket on those 4 things, and they will work with you and ditch their current lender. Almost all of them have at least one of those 4 problems. Show them how to have a prospecting system. Most of them don't, even the big shots. Let me give you an example. Ask a realtor this. Mike, I'll role play it with you. You're the realtor for a minute, right? Hey, Mike, thanks so much for the opportunity to chat with me. I really, really appreciate it. I have no idea where this might lead, but I really appreciate you giving me a few minutes. Do you have a database, Mike?
Yeah, I got everybody like in Gmail. They're all in one
Love it.
spot.
Love it. Love it. Love it. About how many folks are in your database?
I don't know, man. I kind of move them to a Google sheet, maybe like 250, 300. I try to do like A and B lists. So I got people I've closed in list A, and then I guess everybody else goes in list B.
I love it. I love it. Good for you. So you're a member of NAR, aren't you? National Association of Realtors?
Yeah, whether I like it or not, I kind of have to be. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if what they say is true or not, but I read something one day on their website that said 1 out of 12 American adults buy a house per year. You think that's accurate?
I mean, I've never really paid attention or studied it, but I guess I live in a sub of 50 houses, and I see 4 to 6 sell every single year. So I guess that makes sense, man.
Yeah, it might make sense. I don't know. But anyway, that's what, 8%? You have 300 people in your database that know, like, and trust you. So about 8% of them, 24 of them bought a house in the last 12 months. How many of them bought it from you?
Oh man, of the people in my database, I mean, I think that's data gold, but I guess maybe five or six. I hit them up from time to time. I send them recipe cards and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me just make sure I'm understanding, because I'm not really quick with the math. But you said maybe 5 or 6 out of 24 people that know you, like you, and trust you chose you for their home sale representation, and 20 did not?
Well, I don't even know if I had a chance to talk to the other 20. I mean, I just kind of go off of who calls me and hits me up. But I'm always doing stuff. I'm on the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm out there sporting the girls softball team, and I got a sign in our town, and I'm on a park bench and stuff.
That's cool. That's great. Hey, here's what kind of baffles me. Here's what I've been able to help other realtors in the community do, and it's produced incredible results for them. But the biggest phenomenon in the world of real estate is, you just told me 300 people know you, like you, and trust you, and you can access their phone number. And how many of them have you had a meaningful conversation with in the last 7 days?
Oh man, maybe one, maybe two.
Good, because the normal answer I get is 0. So you're already ahead of the pack, because you just said 1 or 2, and the normal answer from almost every realtor is 0. And if I increase the time frame to 30 days, it's still 0. And if I increase it to 120 days, it's still 0.
I
Because
mean,
they
like you're
don't.
my loan, you're trying to be a loan officer, but you're starting to sound like my broker, man.
Yeah, no, I know your broker probably should be talking about it. But the reason I'm asking is this: I've developed a system that doesn't cost you any money, that helps you contact those people on a regular basis with a message of value that they want to hear. Do you think that your likelihood of conversion would increase dramatically if you said something to them on a regular basis that they were interested in hearing?
Well, the obvious answer is yes, but there's always a hook, right? What's the hook? Like, what's
Well,
the
the
trick
hook
to
is
it
that
all?
most realtors don't call their database for two reasons. One, they don't believe they have a message of value. And like, let's say you haven't talked to them in 5 years, which is the normal case for the realtor. You're not going to call up a client and say, "Hi, Mike, I'm your realtor. I hope you remember me. I sold you a house 5 years ago. Haven't spoke to you since, but I sent you that fridge magnet. How are you?" Right? You're not going to say that because it's stupid and it's awkward and it's weird and you're not going to do it, right?
No, I never do that. Yeah, I hate that kind of stuff.
What if you said
Ridiculous.
some variation of this and said, "Hey, Mike, this is Kevin. I'm your realtor. How are you?"
Okay. Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm great. I mean, I guess I'm role playing now, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm good, man. Yeah, kids are good. Everything's good.
Good, good. You're still living in that house I sold you at 123 Main Street 5 years ago?
Yeah, we had to fix the roof and we had to try to add on a little bit to the sunroom because we had another kid. But yeah, no, we're there. It's all good, man.
Excellent, excellent. The reason I was calling you is real simple. I'll just take a quick minute. You made an awesome decision 5 years ago to buy that house, and you've earned a tremendous amount of equity in the past 5 years. Largely nothing because you did, just because the market was really, really beneficial to us. You understand that, right?
Yeah. I get these little reports that I think you send me or something that shows me my house value is going through the roof. It's great.
Well, another client of mine who's the exact same age as you bought 5 years ago as well. And I just went to a closing with him. It's my second one in 12 months. He just bought his second investment property. If I could show you how to access and tap the equity in your current house to use as the down payment on a new house and retire the debt on the new house with someone else's money to provide you with an asset for your retirement at some point that kicks off, tremendous amounts of cash, hopefully, if we do it right, would that be of any interest to you or not?
Yeah, I think so, man. I mean, I'm always a little nervous and scared on these kind of things. And,
Me too.
of
Me
course, my
too.
wife
It's
will
not
always
like
say it's a bad
HGTV.
idea.
Yeah,
We
those
don't.
TV shows are all lies, but it depends who you borrow the money from and who you buy the house from. But there's really a great way to show you. We know the way, and I'd be happy to spend 30 minutes with you if you'd like to see. We've done a couple really good ones in the last 3 months that are producing tremendous ROIs. That stands for return on investment. And I'd love to just see if that's something you'd be interested in.
Awesome, man. So Kevin,
Great.
I can see like you're just, you're walking them through, you're giving them, so you're teaching the realtor how to do this. You're teaching
I'm
the
just
realtor how to
saying, if
go
you
in and have
said
it.
that, if you were the realtor and they haven't talked to
Yep.
and you said
Give them
250 to
something to talk
300,
to.
the average realtor I talked to says they have between 1,000 and 2,500 people in their database. 1,000 and 20. So when you do that 8% rule, it's like 200 home sales, and then they say they sold 4 homes for the year.
Mhm.
So it gets so crazy. So, but again, is the thing, Mike, is this. Can you bring value to the real estate community and help the realtor actually put things in place in their life that allows them or causes them to sell more homes? If you can't, you can't. If you can, you can. And so there are ways to approach real estate agents. I could give you 10 different strategies right now. It doesn't have to be that one I just gave you. I can give you 100 of them. But people are only going to work with you if they know you, like you, and trust you. And so that's the point, is can you get enough going with them where I read something recently that no one will really refer to you until they've spent 7 hours with you through 11 different communications on 4 different platforms. So if you like a guy's post on Facebook and say, "I can't believe that jerk realtor didn't send me a loan," that's no minutes. That's not an interaction. That's a one-sided transaction. We got to get involved with these people at a higher level if you want to expect a result from them.
I like it. Somebody that's on the call today, I'm not going to call them out, but I had a good conversation with them yesterday about, trying to stay in front of more agents and kind of moving the needle. And I just kind of shared some of the things that VMA members have done over the years that I've done in my business that I know other people on this call have done. And, I pointed out like, yeah, you can go all in and say, I'm going to teach all these classes and make all these videos and do this stuff. But, like you always say to us, Kevin, stack in the days and, come up with at least 1 or 2 different high leverage activities that are important to you to build that connection with the realtors. And he was sitting there telling me like, man, I'm calling 20 or 30 realtors a day and I'm kind of getting to like me, but I don't know. I said, well, dude, do you have all those realtors in one spot in your CRM that you're calling? Do you have them all in one like little Facebook military friendly or VA loving spot or what have you? And I know there's loan officers, a couple that are not on this call, but and I know Steven's okay, so I'll share his name. Like Steven Dominic, number one purchase VA unit loan officer in New Jersey last year as a full-time police detective. Okay, so if you guys are saying you don't have enough time, I mean, this guy was literally a police detective and a loan officer on the side and did more units in VA than almost anybody in the country, and certainly in the state of New Jersey. So, like, at the end of the day, what did he do? He was laser focused on what he wanted. He wanted to do VA stuff. He knew the events and activities that would put him to the front of the room, finding influencers in the real estate and veteran community so he could go teach classes. So he got in with some real estate offices, he got in with some local organizations, and he taught heroes classes to police and fire. He taught VA classes to National Guard. And then he used those to build database connections. He put everybody in database in one group. He put all the realtors in another group. And all he did from there was he would put one post a day was his goal. But some days he missed. Some days he only put one post a week. Some days he put one post every 2 weeks. But his goal was to put one post a day into those Facebook groups. And his goal was to add X amount of clients, 5 or 6 or 10 clients. I think this came from our friend Alex Jimenez. Add 10 clients to your database every day. Add 2 realtors to your database every day. Send a message to all your realtors every day or 4 times a week or whatever it works out to. But if you set your goal of I'm going to add 10 people to my database, I'm going to add 2 realtors to my database, and you fall short, okay, but you at least added 4 or 5 people to database or 2 or 1 realtor or whatever. And the next thing you know, you've reached out and you've connected with hundreds of people and then thousands of people, and they're seeing your VA messaging over and over again. What do I say, Mike? What do I say? I don't know. Read the things I send you, read the daily tips, take the slides that we give you, turn those into education moments. And then when you start making connections with people, that's when you set appointments and you pick up the phone and you do the belly to belly stuff and you push it along. So, these kind of things can grow fairly quickly if you are committed to adding more people to your network every single day. And so add the people, figure out how to get them to like you, and then get the one-on-one appointments, and then you push it from there. And so some of the things that, we're talking about here, the marketing and the presentation, all that kind of stuff, it all comes together when you become crystal clear on which activities are making a difference for you, and you commit to doing a certain number of those, or a certain amount of time every single day, and you just find a way to do it. So I love it, man. It's good stuff. All right, cool. Well, I'm going to hit stop recording if anybody has any specific questions.